Hostile territory.
Hi everyone and welcome to Hostile Territory. In this video, we'll be talking about how to protect yourself in a toxic and hostile environment. The first thing, and this is sort of a universal tip that goes through most of my videos, and that is do not take the job seriously. How will this help in protecting yourself? If you don't take anything personally, you will not get insulted. If you don't get insulted, you will not get hurt. And if everything is a straight line, then you will able to protect both your mental and physical health. This is perhaps the most important part of all of this, okay? Protecting yourself in that way. Everything you do, just try to see it as a job and as something that you must do for a paycheck. This goes double if you work in a toxic and hostile workplace. Again, if you love your company, if you love the place you work in, don't do it. Certain sacrifices are okay. But if you work in a toxic and hostile workplace, try to surgically remove taking your job seriously. The next way to protect yourself is to not overwork yourself. Do only the necessary work. Avoid things like doing overtime work, avoid heavy responsibilities, just go around them as much as possible. If you really like to work like I did, and if you really like things to be very perfect, toxic and hostile people will take advantage of that. And we've talked about how all that ends in those companies. You do all the work and they take up all the credits. And at the end of the day, all those hours, days, and months you invested in something is worth nothing. Next, and this is pretty hard to maintain, especially if you're a nice person, and that is to maintain a strict stance towards everybody. By strict, I mean no kidding around, no talking, no mingling, over socializing, anything like that. You must be something like a robot, sad to say. What will this bring you? This is what I've noticed. If you have a strict stance towards people, they will treat you always in a certain kind of way. Mainly, they will start being afraid of you and start getting out of your way. This is a blessing on its own. It will save you and protect you from overworking, from office politics, from certain gatherings that you do not want to go to. You'll be surprised at the effect it has. All in all, it will create what I like to say, a force field around you, where people will not be able to be toxic and hostile towards you as much as they can. The next tip would be, and this is closely related to the previous tip, talk at work as less as possible, okay? So any kind of small talk, any kind of, again, over socializing can cause you problems. Small talk leads to you opening yourself towards certain things. It's just the way the conversation goes. And this will inevitably lead to gossip. We've talked about gossip. That is the poison at work, which can cost you your job when you don't need it, perhaps. And this will inevitably lead to that, trust me. Next, try to be as independent at work as possible. Mainly ask for help as less as possible. Why is this important? Being independent in a toxic and hostile workplace will also create some sort of force field around you. When you're surrounded by those kinds of people, and we've mentioned also this before in a previous video, when you ask them for help, you are essentially bowing down to them. That is the kind of people you are dealing with. Remember that. Every time you ask for some sort of help, they will see that as some sort of credit that they take for you and which they can use later. Okay, so when they need some sort of help from you, which may be 10 times as big, you'll have to return the favor. Also, they may use it against you, what we mentioned before, and they can certain talk can start through the company about your incompetence, like, my goodness, he asked about this, how does he not know that, and so on. All in all, the more independent you are, the better off you will be. Remember this. Now, this is an important tip that you should do if possible, okay? If it's legal, if it's okay with the company, don't get yourself into trouble. Keep track of your work inside the company, okay? Especially if there's financial responsibilities or any kind of other huge responsibilities. Keeping a track of what you're doing in a toxic and hostile workplace is very important. Why? You never know what the people around you think about you. But what you do know is that they don't think anything well about you, and you don't know the level of hostility they may show towards you. What do I mean? you never know, will someone try to set you up with something, okay? So when you have a record, so this would be documents, all kinds of electronic transactions like emails, some sort of electronic documents, whatever. If you have those, gather them in some way. Keep them and make some sort of archive, and this way you'll be able to protect yourself if someone tries to make some sort of hostility towards you, accuse you of something, or to try to accuse you of something that you were involved with but didn't exactly do that. You know what I mean. Keep that archive always safe and in an accessible place. For the end, the last tip, which is the most complicated, and that is to always watch your back. This is the tip that goes above all of these tips that I've mentioned. Sad to say, but again, when you make a good judgment of the workplace, and if you see that the people are toxic, they are hostile, they do not mean anything good for you, and you have to be there, watch your back. To do this properly, over time, if you worked in a hostile workplace like I did, you will develop a sort of superpower. You may laugh at, but it is some sort of superpower where you can make a judgment of the situation very much in advance. And you can see when someone is preparing some sort of trouble for you, okay? And you can respond according to that and avoid a heap of trouble. You know, that is the good part of it. The bad part of keeping your back to the wall is that it is tiresome, it is exhausting, it is mind-bending. I always say that I spent 30% of my time in the company I worked with, in the branch office I worked with, dealing with work and the very big responsibilities and troubles that came with it, and 70% it was the people trying to always manipulate and do things in their interest, and everything else, it was just tiresome. So the bad thing about that is that you get exhausted over time, but nevertheless, you must do it, okay? This is why getting out of a toxic workplace is as soon as possible is very important, before all of that exhaustion and being tired gets to you. So that's it for this time. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. At the end of every video, I must tell you that, and all the viewers out there, that working in a toxic and hostile workplace is not normal. It is an abnormal situation that you must put up with, because in most cases, because of the paycheck, because of the situation you are in. Despite that, you must take care of yourself. You must watch out for yourself, especially if you're feeding your family with that paycheck. Any kind of job, any kind of paycheck even, is not worth your mental and physical health. Always remember that you are replaceable in any case, and always remember that there is another job waiting out there. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you for your time, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.